So let's learn something about the Photoshop interface and how to improve it a little bit. First of all, on the top here, we have the main menu, which is divided by topics. Here we have tools, and you can use tools to do different things on the image. And here we have the option menu. And once you select a new tool, then there you can find their options. Here we have the canvas, and in here we have basically the list of files we have open in this moment. Now, if you want to scroll in between files you have opened in Photoshop, you can press Ctrl Tab to go to the next one, or Ctrl Shift Tab to go to the previous one. Now, this is pretty important because you can read the name of the file, the percentage of the zoom you are looking at, and then you can see the layer you are selecting, the mode of the image, which could be RGB, CMYK, black and white, and so on. And then you have the depth, which is the amount of informations that each pixel of your image is storing at the moment. And here you have a small asterisk, which means that this image, this file, is not saved yet. Okay, so this is going away when you save the file. Well, that's it. Now, this is the canvas, and you can, of course, zoom in, zoom out with Control minus, Control plus, which is the shortcut. And then you can also change the background color of the canvas. If you don't like medium gray, you can right click here and you can go to the default value, or black, or dark gray, or you can just click on custom, and of course you need to select a custom color. Now, this is not something I recommend to do. My choice here is to go with a medium gray or a black background. But medium gray is a lot better because you want to understand if something is kind of too dark or too bright, and with a medium gray background it's a lot easier. Now, here there's no rules, so you can activate them by clicking Control R on the keyboard, and now you have the rulers. And these are necessary because you can click and drag down from the rulers on the top to get some guidelines, and same thing you can do from the left to get some guidelines. Now, if you want to delete some guidelines, you can just bring them back on the rulers, okay? And or if you want to just hide them for the moment, you can press Ctrl H on the keyboard. Now, let's go back in here, and if you looking down here, you have basically some view options. Now, this is not a 32-bit exposure image, but if you have a 32-bit exposure image, you have a slider here, and you can change the exposure. You can preview the exposure, or you can have here different kind of informations like, I don't know, document size, smart object number, document profile, which is the color profile where that you use to save the image, and etc. Document dimension, which is pretty cool because you can check how big is the file in a matter of seconds. Now, let's clean this interface, because there's some panels we never going to use. So for example, the Learn tab, we can close it. So right click on the name here and click on close. Same for the libraries, close. Layers, channels, and path, they are pretty important, probably the most important, so we need to keep them for sure. And if you look down here in the layers and channels and path, basically you have some option here. And in the layer tab, you have adjustments, which is the small circle icon divided by in two. And so here we have all the adjustments we need and that's for this reason we don't need this. Don't need this panel, so we close this one. And properties is pretty important, because once you have, for example, an adjustment, I don't know, a curve adjustment, and you want to change the curves, the values of your image, you can see that curve in the properties. So it's important, but at the same time, we don't want this tab here, because we want enough space to see the layers, and for that reason we take the properties tab and we bring it out. Now, if you have a couple of monitors, it's better because you can bring this on the second monitor and it's going to be a lot better. But otherwise, I keep this one here. And you can have the problem that, this property panel goes on top of your image, but then you don't have to care about this, because if you press F on the keyboard, you can change the mode where, this basically interface is working, and you can basically switch in between three modes, which is the normal mode where you cannot move this canvas around. The second mode is basically free mode, and you can just move the canvas around. So you see, now I have my properties here and the canvas is free. I can press Ctrl plus once, and I can work on this. It's perfect for me. And then you have the full screen mode, which is it's cool when like when you are done with the image, or you want to show the image someone else, like full screen, or it's just for you, and you want to check the image a lot better because you don't have the interface around. You can Control R again to turn off the rulers, and that's it. Okay, so if you press F again, you go back to normal view, but I prefer the free mode, this one, so I can move my image a little bit on the left and have the properties here. Now, another things you can take away is the color top. Now, the reason is, post-production for ArchViz, you're not going to use this as much as you think. And when you need a color, you can, always, click on here and get the color from here. So, this is a lot of space which we can use in a better way. So we close the tab color, we close the swatches tab. And then what we can do here, we can go in the window tab and then, turn on the visibility of some other tabs, like, for example, the navigator. Now, the navigator is this small tab which basically show you how the image looks like, resizing it like from far away, and you can say, why, Roberto, why we need the same image twice? The reason is because when you see the image a lot smaller, you can understand easier if you have some mistakes. And I don't know why, but the brain works like that. If you see the image a lot smaller, you can understand better where something is wrong, especially when you start putting like people on top of your image, or you want to match a photo or some vegetation with your render. And looking and unzooming is one thing I do really often. So you can have the navigator, or you can just time to time just scroll out, zoom out with control minus. But anyway, navigator, it's cool, and we are going to use the navigator also when we are going to paint, because when we are going to paint, we are going to copy a photo, and the navigator is going to tell you if you are doing a good job or not. Then we need the histogram. The histogram is a very cool feature because the histogram is basically showing you all the values of your image. And if you have the histogram, you can understand, I don't know, if you have too many values, too dark, or maybe too many values too bright, or etc. Is very important to see the histogram of an image. Now, you can see the histogram also under the curves, but doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to make a new adjustment, curve adjustment, just because you want to see the histogram. Okay, so this is something you need to keep with you all the time, and you can keep it small. It doesn't matter really. And if you want to, you can expand view. You can get more informations. You can, have all the channels, but this is too much, I would say. So I normally go with the compact view, and you will see that during post-production, we are going to hide the colors many times because colors are kind of distracting what your eyes and your brain. So once you have no colors, as you can see, the histogram is so much cleaner and understandable. Okay, so here you have black tones, and here black values, and here you have bright values. Anyway, histogram so important. We need that. We need it, and then we can have here on this small, basically vertical tab, we can have some other options. Now here we have history, so it's useful. You can keep it. If you want to go back, if you made a mistake, you can go back and instead of clicking on Control Z. And then here you can have also brushes, which is pretty important because, you can have, we are going to use brushes, so why not having them here just to check them? And also the brush setting, because once you select a brush, then you can change all the settings of that brush and basically modify how it's going to work. And then another thing we can have there is the this is the text folder. So the character. So this is important because sometimes we need to write, and and so we can change the font, we can change the size, we can change the paragraph styles, etc., etc. I mean, if you don't use it, doesn't matter. I mean, it's just a couple of icons there, and there's no problems. Now, there's really not a lot more to know about the interface I'm going to use, and the only thing I can share with you is sometimes I run some actions. Actions are basically comments that you can record once, and then Photoshop will basically play in a matter of milliseconds. I don't know, like I don't know, you find yourself doing the same things over and over many times in a day, like I don't know, importing a mask or making a mask. Well, you can record yourself making it only once, and then you can press an hotkey, and it's gonna work fine. Now you have the interface like this. You can go here, Windows, workspace, and then you can click on new workspace, and then you can write a name here, like I don't know, I write Rob test 01. And of course you can have keyboard shortcuts, also menus and toolbars saved inside this new workspace, and you can click save. And then even if you are back to the original workspace, let's reset everything. You see, this is the original workspace. You can go back here, Windows workspace, and you can click on your name, your work set, and then that's it. You have it again ready for playing. Another cool thing about the interface is that if you have more than one image open in Photoshop, you can go to Window, Arrange, and then you can basically put them, side by side, because maybe you want to see the difference between them. Then you can go back to default by clicking on Consolidate all two tabs. And as you can see, we are back to the original view. Then if sometimes I need to modify an image, but I want to see at the same time the overlook of the image, or maybe I want to zoom in and I want to have a duplicate of the same image, but at 100%, I can go here, Window, Arrange, New Window, and then you will see the name of your file. And in this way, you see, we have another tab here, which is exactly the same file, as not another file, as the same file, but this is an instance of the canvas. And so we can take this one, we can drag and drop it down here, we can, resize it like this. We can we can scroll, we can zoom out with Alt and scrolling down, for example. So here you see I have basically a new window with the same image. These are like the same image. Actually, you see, if I make a new layer on this one and I paint something, you see, it will basically shown on the small brother, I would say, on the small canvas once I finished to write. So this is not real time, but it changed when you release the mouse or you do something with the keyboard and you release the key. That's it. So it's very useful. Mainly if you have two monitors, you can take this window here on a second monitor, and maybe you can, in this one, you can zoom in a lot and see if what you're doing in this one is okay on the other canvas and vice versa. Now, in case you need to open an image because you want to copy from it, you can open the image, let's say this one, and then you can drag and drop this tab here like this to unlock it from the from the other one. Okay, so this is one way. Or you can just select this file, go here, arrange, and then float in window, and it's basically the same thing. So you can get this floating in a window. Let's say you have, like, I don't know, something you want to copy on this image, and then if you click on this file, this is going to float over this one.